We are live.
Hey,
How are you?
I'm all right. How are you? Hello, Trekkers.
Howdy,
Happy Yuletide.
Oh, wait, hang on. I forgot to do my little thing. Hang on.
Oh, all right.
I'm going to do the little thing. Even
Do
though
the
we've
thing.
already started,
Do the little thing.
we're going to do the thing. Here we go. There you go. The thing has been done.
It's so dramatic. I feel like I should be ready for action or something.
Absolutely.
Like, where's my phaser?
All right. So we are live on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
And who knows if we'll have any viewers at all? Not me. Because who doesn't have better things to do than, on Christmas Eve than do this?
Not me, that's for sure.
Well, and me either.
Well, I haven't talked about Star Trek with y'all. I haven't talked about anything with y'all for a while. So.
No, the last time you were on, it was still Lower Decks, right?
No, I was in for definitely the season premiere of Discovery, and maybe the third one. I can't remember.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Let me show you one of the things I got for Christmas.
Okay. Yeah.
Look at that. So,
terrific. Yeah, excellent.
When we have a new series of Lower Decks, I've got the shirt for it.
You are property. Are you property of the Cerritos?
The USS Cerritos, and I could not be happier about that.
Fantastic. Congratulations.
Well, thank you. How are you?
So what rank are you pulling on the Cerritos at this time?
Oh, I'm a non-commissioned officer.
Okay.
I'm like
keep it real.
I think I'm
with the people.
I think I'm in the galley somewhere. Like I'm just like the mashed potato dipper. That's what I am. But there's got to be one.
Was that an undiscovered country reference?
There you go.
I was about to ask, is there still a galley by the time of the Cerritos? Because we know that in Undiscovered Country, we see the galley and we see them cooking food. What?
Yeah.
I would guess, and other viewers, fans can ring in with evidence from the actual shows, because I don't have that strong a memory. But I would guess that there are still working kitchens on the TNG area ships.
Well,
and that maybe one meal a day they'll do live for a break from the replicated stuff, and maybe for holidays, special occasions, and whatnot.
Yeah, there definitely was on Voyager.
Right, on Voyager, yeah.
Let me show you what else I got for Christmas.
Okay. I can't see if anyone's watching, but if anyone is,
there are a couple of people.
Okay, good. Yeah, so, I'm not privy to that information.
First of all, I got. Actually, I'll do this one first. I've got the new from Eagle Moss. The company that does the model ships.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I have the Voyager book.
Hey,
which I'm very excited about. I have the Discovery USS Enterprise.
Oh, very nice.
Oh my gosh, it's so
very
beautiful.
Spiffy. Yeah.
It's so beautiful.
How about that? Right.
So we are talking about episode 11. We're down to the last 3 of the season. And it went through at least publicly, went through a name change. It had been like listed IMDb and Wiki and all these other places as something, and I can't remember what it was originally called, but this past week it was listed as Sukal.
You're right.
Yeah.
I was not aware that it had undergone a name change. You would think that maybe it was one of those things they do when they're trying to keep it secret.
Exactly.
But I don't know that the name Sukal has meaning for anyone who's not Kelpian out in the audience.
Right.
Yeah. So who that would, and You don't remember what it was originally called? Maybe someone can weigh in.
It was something like Crash and Burn or something crazy like that. Something, like something kind of cliche and nondescript.
Okay.
So I don't know. They could have just called it Placeholder or Untitled. I don't know. But anyway, so yeah, I liked the basically the bulk of the episode. Well, first of all, tell me what you thought of the episode overall. What was your impressions of it?
So I thought it was fun. There was a lot of excitement. I'm not generally a fan of the conceit where someone is exploring an environment and it's all like a disguise. In this case, a holographic disguise.
Interesting.
And sort of tied into that, I'm not quite sure why the program decided to make everybody look different. But how delightful to see Doug Jones without makeup this week.
Absolutely.
And oh gosh, it must have been a terrific break for him.
He did still have to do a little bit in makeup because
they did.
The wig.
There were some scenes early on.
Yeah, he keeps his head shaved for Saru, so they had to put a full wig on him. So it still wasn't anything like what he would normally have to go through.
Correct.
That was a nice surprise.
Yeah, so like I say, that's not a conceit that I'm usually a fan of, but still, it made for some interesting environments for them to explore. So, it worked well enough. It was kind of neat. The drama of the Orion lady, whose name I can't remember. Is it Osira? Osira, yeah, thank you. Showing up and her tete-a-tete with Tilly. That was good. And, that little bit of Tilly taking command for the first time, it put me in mind of something that some of us observed on lower decks, which was about how mutually supportive that crew was and how, some laughs were generated by it. Like in the one where Rutherford keeps changing departments. And it's always, you're moving on, terrific. But it was also sort of emblematic, an extension of the Starfleet and the Federation ethos that we're all in this together and we're all going to lift each other up. So when Tilly was taking command and everyone was very supportive and encouraging, and I think it was Oo and Detmer gave each other a nice little look when she was laying down the law.
Right.
This is working.
Right.
Good stuff. And it'll be really interesting to see how they get out of this wacky predicament.
It's interesting. Hang on. Amanda says, I love the mean girl back and forth with Tilly.
Sure. Yeah. Good stuff.
It's interesting that you talk about the, not very real environment that they beam down in. I do. That's something that I do enjoy. I love that it puts you sort of like on the back foot. You don't know what to expect. You don't know how it's going to develop. And I really enjoyed it. And I thought the setting gave it a real sort of like Narnia / Alice in Wonderland kind of feel to it, where they encounter these unexpected people that they don't know anything about, and it sort of like builds a mystery that they have to figure out.
Sure, yeah.
Let's see. What about the monster?
The monster is interesting. I'm still not quite sure what's going on there, or how that's going to be resolved. But it was kind of cool looking.
It was very cool looking. I wonder if it's sort of like a storybook. Like a storybook re-imaging of the Baul. The other race.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
I just wonder, since we're 900 years down the road, I just wonder what the relationship between the Kelpians and the Baul are at this point. And is that something that, Kelpian from that time would use as a story time, sort of like scary story for bedtime or whatever. I just wonder if that's really what would happen and if it would have the same effect.
That's a good question. I hadn't thought about that. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go.
Oh, well, one thing that I think is kind of lacking in the format that we have for Discovery with this 1,000-year time jump is that we don't really get the chance to explore how these different cultures have changed over that time. I mean, we get sort of superficial changes for the Federation and for Earth and stuff. And, oh, the uniforms are different now. But, 1,000 years is so long. You would expect some radical differences. Like there could be aspects of even human societies that we wouldn't even recognize that would have developed by that time.
Right.
Someone from Saru's culture. I mean, obviously he still had, he was still able to connect with the child, and it feels odd to call that person a child because they've been there for so long, but we don't. Well, the name of the episode is the name of the child, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Which I've already forgotten. So help me out. Darn it, stupid brain.
Sukal,
thank you. Oh,
you are absolutely welcome.
I just watched the thing too. So Saru is able to connect with Sukal and with the holographic caretaker there, and able to connect with them in meaningful ways. Recognizes the lullaby, I think, or at least the lullaby still has some meaning for him. Still has an effect on him.
Right.
But
is that the same melody that they've been hearing throughout the season?
Oh, that's a good question. I didn't pick up on that.
Because surely he would have mentioned that.
Yes.
I mean,
see, I feel now like I have to go back and rewatch all of this.
The first time we ever saw it or heard it was Gray was playing it on cello, and Adira asked him where it came from or what, or Burnham did, and he said it was a lullaby.
Yeah.
And this one was introduced with the elder saying, "Would you like a lullaby?"
Yeah.
So it's got to be. I mean, it's got to be, but no one seemed to make that connection or make that recognition.
Yeah.
It seems very strange. Of course, they won't until the melody is heard by Burnham, and then she will recognize it.
Well, yeah. If that's the case too, I would love to know where Gray picked it up.
Absolutely. Amanda chimes in with, "It was nice to see a Bajoran, even if it wasn't really a Bajoran."
Sure.
And I agree with that completely. At one point, they said that the holograms that were sort of officiating the Kelpian admission into the Federation said that their appearances had been altered because their normal appearance might be shocking to what's his name? Sukal.
Sure, yeah.
So they were altered to fit in with the program, but humans don't look that much different from Bajorans and from Trill. So why?
Correct, yes. And of course, Saru was turned into a human, so that wouldn't be shocking either.
Exactly. So, I mean, the one thing he should be familiar with is a Kelpian. So that explanation just didn't make any sense.
Oh, hey! And, it did raise the question for me, these little continuity bugbears, like, oh, would Burnham really know about Bajorans? But I don't care. I mean, in general, I don't get too hung up on these continuity questions that Discovery has raised.
Right.
I mean, we get the impression that Federation contact with the Bajorans is still relatively new in TNG time, but I don't know that we know that for sure. They could have been around for 100 years, doing their thing, and they know about them, but there hasn't been a lot of relations until TNG era. I don't know. I'm just speculating.
Amanda also agrees that she was confused as to why Saru wouldn't have just been left to Kelpian if the program was trying to make the child feel comfortable. I totally agreed. I don't really understand the rationale behind that whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so Sukal lives in this world that's built to protect and educate him.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, without Vihari, Kelpians have a pretty long lifespan because he's got to be 130, maybe 135 years old at this point.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's interesting. But I really enjoyed that. It put me in mind of the Next Gen episode from season 4, Future Imperfect.
Now, which one was that?
It's the one where it's the boy who, at the end of the episode, turns out to be a little gray alien.
Oh, sure. Okay, yeah.
And had done all these elaborate holodeck tricks to get Riker to stay with him.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was really lovely. So, it's like the revelation of Su'Kal possibly being the source of the burn seems like the end of a Next Gen episode revelation rather than the end of a season, tie up of a big mystery.
Sure, yeah.
But I kind of like that. I kind of like that it's a quieter, smaller, not galactic, conspiracy kind of mystery.
Yeah, sure. I had some wacky idea about what might have started the burn back at the beginning of the season, and I can't remember what it was. It was some bizarre thing. I don't know.
Oh, that's
no, but this is interesting. But what could be going on about Su'Kal that he seems to have this effect?
Exactly. Exactly.
To be able to trigger dilithium all over the galaxy, like
right.
It's a heck of a mutant power.
Cerebro is on the case. Professor
That's right, yeah.
at any moment.
Well, of course, the X-Men have crossed over with Next Generation, so that's canonical. So, yeah, they just got to roll on in there and take care of it.
I like that. Moving on from that to back onto the ship, we talked about the showdown between Osira and Tilly.
Yeah.
I like the way that Tilly has sort of assumed her role as a commander. I liked when they're in conference with the Admiral that Saru says, "I'm leaving the ship in command with my first officer, Ensign Tilly." And like, Ensign? Really?
Yeah. I mean, you'd think she would have gotten a field promotion by now, for one thing.
Yeah, but even that, I mean, that would be like 3 jumps up from Ensign at least.
Well, hey, it worked in the Kelvinverse.
I know, exactly. And, they kind of did that with Geordi at the beginning of season 2.
Sure, yeah. Mm-hmm.
When he was was he an ensign or was he was a lieutenant junior grade?
Correct, yeah.
Beginning of season 2, he's head of engineering and a lieutenant commander.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 2 steps up. So I guess she could go 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Amanda said Kelpians are a little bit empathic. That's true. That could have something to do with the child's powers.
Sure, yeah.
And mixed with and we all know from Marvel Comics that if you mix anything like that with radiation, it's going to amplify into a superpower.
Yeah, yeah. Well, if we posit that in the Star Trek universe, we know that psychic abilities are real. So that being the case, there has to be some transmission of particles between minds, something like that, a mechanism for this to happen. So there's no reason that couldn't interact with the dilithium somehow to have that kind of effect.
But
maybe that's what's going on. Right. So I don't know. Maybe it's some wacky thing like dilithium is connected to other dilithium via subspace, something like that. I don't know.
Right.
That John Ford novel from the 80s, How Much for Just the Planet, posited that dilithium had some funky things going on with it not being completely stable in time. There was some aspect like that was a plot point of it. So
right.
I don't know if they're building on that, if they plan to introduce something like that.
Right. I saw somebody on one of the Discovery Facebook groups who suggested that what if Su'Kal isn't the source of the burn? What if it's the monster? Or what if the monster is actually the thing? Like, like Sukal is actually part of the program, and the monster is the thing that's real.
Oh, interesting. Wow. See, I only watched it. Well, we finished about 20 minutes ago. So, I haven't looked at all the chatter on the web yet. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. I like it.
I do too. It would be a nice spin on expectations. I mean, they have a good explanation for why Sukal is there and what role he's playing in the whole thing. So it would be really cool to sort of subvert that.
Yeah. Although if Sukal is a hologram, then why is all this set up to socialize and educate him and all that?
Well,
that's not to shoot down the idea.
Right.
Just
no, I agree with that. I really don't think that that's the case. I think it's a neat supposition, but I don't think it's actually.
It's kind of leaning towards the kind of flip at the 40-minute mark that a Stephen Moffat Doctor Who would deliver. Like, oh, it wasn't really this; it was this other thing.
Right.
Scratching your head. Well, then what about? Never mind, because now the Doctor's going to put on a funny hat, something like that.
There you go.
What was the environment that the child was living in? It was kind of hard to read visually. It kind of looked like a haunted castle type environment.
Yeah.
But then they go out and it's off to this other fortress on a moving bridge or something.
Yeah. What was all that about?
Yeah, maybe it's just me that I found it hard to visually interpret the structure and the layout of the whole place. But maybe that was part of the idea that first of all, it is all imaginary. Second of all, it's part of a hologram program that is degrading. Right. So it could kind of be like a dream that it's these strange shifting environments. I don't know.
The CGI budget was really kind of above and beyond this episode.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, heck, I think it's for next season. They're getting the 360 video wall that Star Wars uses now.
They are.
So it'll be interesting to see what they can do with that.
Oh my gosh, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah. Do we have a question coming in, it looks like?
Amanda.
Oh, yeah.
An Escher style castle.
I thought about that too. The old Escher print that inspired Castrovalva.
Castrovalva, right, exactly.
Yeah. And boy, if they had only had that kind of tech in 1980 or whatever it was. Oh, because, I love the idea, but they didn't quite get there.
No.
The CSO, yeah.
But that's what the special editions of the Blu-rays are for.
Oh, are they doing that for that one? Or have they done it?
No, I'm just saying that. They should put all their money into making Castrovalva look the way it
actually look like. Yeah. And it's interesting. I did see, there were a lot of think pieces after the Mandalorian finale. Forgive me for jumping universes, but it's just you and me for a whole hour. So, Besides, we're all poly nerds here. One of them said The Mandalorian is the first TV show that looks like a movie. And they thought that was problematic. And I thought, well, I don't know. Star Trek Discovery has been movie quality. And I think about shows like Hannibal, like maybe even going back to Mad Men. I mean, this has been building in television for a while.
Absolutely.
Twin Peaks: The Return. They've really upped the game of TV visuals.
Oh, totally. I don't think that's the first one that looks cinematic on that scale.
No. I think Mandalorian is the first TV show to look like a Star Wars movie, which is, interesting and a technical achievement. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Amanda says, I think you weren't supposed to be able to tell up from down, which is kind of what Escher was all about.
Okay.
And that's definitely the case in the scene where Burnham falls off that edge and hits that gravity well and falls up instead of down.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really cool. That was, and then when Sukal joins her in the next scene, it starts with her, like here's the floor, and then the camera pans around to our POV. That was a nice.
Oh, I don't think I even noticed that. That's great. Okay. So probably the visual confusion I was picking up on was intentional.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I really like that Culber has gotten a lot more prominent screen time this season. Like he's much more integrated into the plot of the show rather than just being a plot point for Stamets.
Yeah.
Like he's actually integrated into the crew, it seems like.
Yeah, and as many of us have been complaining about for a while, it was nice to see the other members of the supporting crew get more screen time, more development.
Yes.
Although, Candace, my partner, who you know and who many viewers will know, wondered, as I think a lot of us has, why are Adira and Gray getting all this material when you have this whole bridge crew right there? That is,
dude.
And it's nothing against them. They're good characters. There's an interesting thing going on there, but it's like, come on. They were going in a great direction, I felt, with Detmer maybe having PTSD, something going on there clearly.
Yep.
And they did a thing where she asked for help, and I guess we're done with that now. Okay.
Right. That was her journey, being able to
I guess, yeah.
And that's it. That's it for them.
Okay, then.
So I guess next season, maybe one of the others will get like a 4-episode arc, and that'll be it for another year.
Yeah.
Speaking of Adira, though, I really I liked that the family unit, the adoptive family unit with Stamets and Culber, got sort of reinforced this week.
Yeah, sure.
On Stamets' side, like, you have us and we're a package deal, and I just thought that was kind of a nice thing.
Yeah, I do like how going back to that thing of the dynamic of the crew and everyone is supportive and accepting of each other, the way Adira and by extension Gray have gotten integrated into the crew, and then Booker as well. I think that has worked pretty well. Yeah.
I was talking to my buddy Josh earlier, and he was mentioning the thing that he liked about this episode the most was what a strong ensemble feel it had.
Yeah.
And I completely agree with that. We've had a couple of times this season that's felt much more ensemble than, most any other case. And I thought this one was a really good one on that case.
Yeah, definitely.
But speaking of the bridge crew, there was a lady who got a speaking line. She got a part.
Mm-hmm.
She had dark hair. Who the hell is it?
Good question. And what happened to, I think it's Nilsson, the blonde woman.
Nilsson got mentioned, but she wasn't there.
Okay.
So
I don't know.
Who the hell was that chick?
Well, I guess to a certain extent, it goes back to the old days. I mean, any show will still do this. Where,
sure. I know.
Somebody had the week off or whatever, TOS, except with a few exceptions, I don't know if they even paid that much attention to the bridge crew outside of the regulars. It was just, here's a person, here's a new yeoman with a thing for Kirk to sign.
Right. Sure, I understand. But it was just a weird, sudden.
No, I know. It's like, oh, hello, person we've never seen or heard of before.
So speaking of Adira, how it's a weird situation that Gray is sort of his own entity, like a conscious entity that has his own plot. He makes his own decisions. He does whatever he wants. How does that work in the spectrum of Trill that we've seen so far?
That's a good question. I was thinking about that too. I wonder if, to a certain extent, it is not a function of the interaction between the symbiont and Adira's brain in particular. There's this old chestnut that is not true, that humans only use 10% of our brain.
Right.
But there's processing power up there that could potentially be blocked off. A lot of things happen in our heads unconsciously. Mm-hmm. So maybe the Trill has co-opted some of Adira's neurons to create this other active personality that they can interact with, in real time at the same time. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here.
Well,
but it is unusual, I think, from what we've seen of other Trills.
But and to be fair, we haven't seen that many other Trill in depth.
Yeah.
So could it be that this is a situation where the host and the person that's going to become the next host were already so connected, like they were already bonded with each other. And then that person dies, the host goes over to the partner, basically. And I don't think that's usually the case for Trill.
Yeah, that would, I think that's a really interesting idea. I wonder if they'll explore in that direction, if that's what's going on here. Amanda has something.
Amanda says in DS9, Dax had that separation ceremony where Curzon Dax almost stayed separate. Exactly. But that was a ceremony that had to draw out those personalities and implant them in a separate body. So this is something that's happening completely unbidden. It's just sort of like a natural development. And I think it's really fascinating.
And, that's an interesting point that Amanda brings up. And at least in the human brain, and of course, I'm not a psychologist, but there is there's this idea of closure, that a thing happens and you need something in the real world or some kind of interaction with other people to mark the end of that thing so that you can fully move on. And, I'm an anthropologist, so I can talk a little about this. There have been suggestions made that one of the things that we in our modern Western society have lost, to a certain extent, though not entirely, is the value of ritual. That for many of us, rituals marking certain life transitions aren't as important as they used to be, or that they still are for other cultures, for instance. So, for a species like the Trill, which is sentient, presumably social creatures like we are, for an arrangement like that, where you have one entity living inside you and the other one up here in your own head, that something like a separation ritual might be that much more important for the combined psychological health of both entities moving forward. So, there could be in Adira/Gray, that aspect of them being so close ahead of time, or there could also be an aspect that, the old cells, the old personae, were not completely cut off in the way that Trills normally require. I don't know. Again, we're just kind of speculating.
Yeah.
But it would be it would have been fun back in the day. Who knows? Maybe we'll still get the opportunity to see. It's too late with Jadzia now, probably, but maybe Esri Dax will return and she'll have a thing going on of every now and again going, "Shut up, I'm talking." It's, one of the other selves has piped up and wants to get a word in.
I mean, that should have been the concept with Trill all along.
That would have been a lot of fun and really interesting.
Absolutely. It could also have to do with the fact that Adira isn't Trill, and this could be a side effect. Absolutely.
Yeah, sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm sure that's got something to do with it. The physiognomy has some part to play in that.
Yeah. We did have, didn't Riker take a symbiont for a while? And did they ever do that on DS9, that somebody had to take the Dax symbiont?
Only,
I don't know if they did.
Only Esri, sorry.
Okay.
Where she wasn't one of the, she had never applied to the joining whatever. She didn't want to be a joint Trill, but she was there and the only one available, so they had to implant Dax into her. Yeah.
Gotcha. All
right. A lot of people, kind of talk about how it's a shame that Terry Farrell left the show, but to me, it's a shame that you would have a show with a main character like a Trill and not explore the changing of a host as part of that character. So I think it would have been wrong to not have her leave.
And, I am on record for all those taking notes as preferring Esri Dax to Jadzia, frankly. And it's for various reasons that I could go into. And it's kind of a shame that we only got one season with Esri.
Absolutely.
Because I think to see that journey of them, as this new joined entity and having to learn to deal with that, as well as the learning experience that Esri was on to begin with. She was a very young officer. Right. God, was she even an officer? Was she an ensign? I can't remember.
Amanda points out that there was the guy. It was season 2, episode 4.
Okay.
That stole the Dax symbiont. So yeah, there was that one time.
And remind us, did he put it inside himself, or did he like keep it in a jar like a
no, it was
okay.
implanted. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, many unexplored opportunities with these interesting ideas sometimes that Star Trek hands us.
Yeah. I'm very much looking forward to, I don't know if it'll happen this season, but as we go down the line a little bit, I'm looking forward to seeing more of what the relationship is with some of the founding races and the Federation. Because we know that Vulcans are no longer members of the Federation. So I really want to know how their society has evolved over the past 900 years. I want to know how the relationship with the Federation either broke down or can be reestablished. I'm really looking forward to seeing a lot of, I mean, Vulcan is such an important race to Star Trek. You have to deal with it. So I'm looking forward to seeing where that goes.
Wasn't there, I think it was only a line of dialogue that the Klingons were one of the last species still in the Federation? And if Earth has left, then that's a very interesting development.
Yeah.
That the Klingons are part of the group, still keeping the flame, still got faith of the heart. Yeah, so it would be neat to see how the Klingon societies develop. Will they give us any of this? Who knows? The suggestion has been made that Earth, well, I guess a couple things. I think I said that wrong. That Earth has left the Federation, but the Federation still has humans in it. It's just that our home world is not part of the Federation.
Right.
But the Klingons, and somebody remind me if I got that, or correct me if I got that line of dialogue wrong, but I think it was something like that.
I don't really remember.
Klingons were still in.
I don't remember a mention of Klingons, but
okay.
I may have missed it.
Oh, a lot goes on in a season of Discovery.
That's true.
So yeah, some have suggested that maybe humans have turned really crappy, or that the Federation is now not as nice an entity as it used to be.
Right.
And that's why things broke down.
Right.
That Admiral Zaddy, Oded Fair's character, he may actually be that he's hiding a lot from us.
Do you mean Admiral Silver Fox?
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Admiral Vance. That was I couldn't remember his name for a second, but I've been calling him Admiral Zaddy all season. Oh boy. Yeah. So he may be crappy on the sly and still have not have quite tipped his hand, but I don't know. The preview for next week, I don't know if that bears that idea out, but we'll find out.
Man, that preview looks incredible.
Yeah.
Action packed.
And that's how we like our Trek, right? None of this cerebral stuff. None of these highbrow ideas. We want the action.
No,
we want to see someone deliver a Kirk chop.
I like the highbrow too.
I know.
Very much.
Well, it's been a common complaint that Star Trek has shifted the focus too much to action. But I think all those cool sci-fi and humanist ideas are still there.
Yes.
Action was always part of Star Trek. They were just limited in the ways they could do it and how much they could do it.
Yeah.
We had Gorn fights. We had the whole submarine game going on. The Romulans.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
All right. So I got 2 more things from Amanda. She's talking about.
Oh, that's the symbiont from Deep Space.
Yes.
Okay.
And she says that she would like to see where the Cardassians are now.
Oh yeah,
without a doubt.
That'll be interesting. Yeah.
Okay, so what was your rating for this episode out of 10?
Off the top of my head, I'm going to say a 7.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I thought it worked really well. You?
I'm going to say 8.5.
Oh,
I thought it was pretty strong. I haven't given anything a 9 yet. So,
anything this season or any episode of Discovery?
this season.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think I would ever give anything a 10. I don't see anything ever being so perfect it's a 10. So 9 is kind of like my cap.
For me at least, with this serialized style that so many shows do now, it makes it much harder to give an individual episode a rating like that, because there are things that you want to see. Well, let's see how that plays out. Let's see how they resolve this.
Right. But about that, though, I do feel like this season has given us a lot of variety of storytelling.
Yeah.
Even if the storyline is continued, we've had a lot of it's not that it feels choppy. It's just that every episode or every story arc has been a sort of like a different presentation. And I've really enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah. It's seems like more of a side quest season.
Right. And they did a lot of stuff where, like at the beginning, they introduced the couriers or whatever they're called, and you think that's going to be a major part of the episode of the season, and it really wasn't. It was mentioned a few times. They set up a few other things that you thought, okay, well, this is going to be like a major focus, and it wasn't. So it's been kind of like it's been an interesting season. I think they're planting a lot of seeds for down the road.
Yeah.
I think that they're laying ground for what's going to happen in future seasons, and I'm a fan of that.
So I have a couple questions at this point, and one is a little frivolous, but the other one is also kind of serious. The first one is, I don't know, did they ever address? Was it Mr. Sahil, the guy who has been maintaining that Federation outpost?
He has not been back yet.
Did they even let him know that they found Starfleet headquarters?
I'm guessing not.
He could be back there. Oh, one day I'll hear back from them. And he gazes at that flag. Keeping faith of the heart.
Right.
But no, my other question is the short trek Calypso.
Yeah.
Mention was made by the computer in that the crew had been gone for 1,000 years, right?
Right.
And we've had this 1,000-year time jump. So I still want to know, when does Calypso happen, and exactly how does it happen?
Right.
And we've had in this season the computer act all funky, and it's heavily implied. I don't think it was stated outright, because how would Saru know? But it's heavily implied that this is an outgrowth of the stuff, the extra personality that the computer took on. Yeah. So how did this time jump work? Are we meant to think the crew jumped ahead and the ship had to go through 1,000 years, of normal existence to catch up with them? That makes no sense.
No, it doesn't.
But I haven't traveled through time except in the normal way so far. So I don't know. Maybe there is something funky about wormhole time travel like that, where maybe the guy from Calypso was like on an alternate discovery for 1,000 that was sitting idle for 1,000 years.
Maybe.
I don't know. Will they even come back to that?
I think they will in some way, because I don't think they would have introduced the AI becoming sentient in that episode if they weren't going to come to it at some point.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, we'll find out. Are they even gonna stay 1,000 years in the future after the season? I think that they are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kurtzman has said that this is the show's permanent residency now.
Oh, he has. Okay. So maybe we'll get more of that exploration and some of these answers to our questions. What have the Klingons been up to?
Exactly.
What are the Cardassians and so forth?
Yes. Exactly.
What of Tribbles?
Oh, the most important question.
Yeah.
Where are the Tribbles? All right. Well, thank you very much for hanging out with me for this.
You got it.
Minutes. And
thank you, Alan.
Thank you to Amanda for watching the whole show.
Yeah.
Thank you, Amanda. All right. So everybody have a Merry Christmas.
Happy Yuletide, everyone.
And we will see you next Thursday. Goodbye, Santa. Next Thursday is New Year's Eve, and the plan is to have a gang in and do the drunk history version of a Discovery review.
Oh, heck.
So we'll see how that goes.
My memory is sieve-like enough.
Right.
It's Swiss cheese enough without adding alcohol to the mix. This was herbal tea, by the way, just so you all know. A safe beverage for broadcast.
So far, next week, we have Lizbeth Dyson and Vandy Beth Glenn.
Fantastic.
All right, so we will see you next week. Take care.
Okay. Goodbye, everyone.
Have a great night. And give Candace my love.
Will do.
Awesome. All right. Bye, everybody. And